Who are they happy to bring? Well, there's the Void Spirit that they will bring out.
Yeah, the Void Spirit, classic hero that can possibly survive. You see the Bane, the simulate, you're out, right? That's the idea of how you want to approach it. Going back to the Rubik pick, also, you mentioned how good of a Rubik game it is. The Shikuchi is the best possible spell that you can steal. You know, you have those Rubik spells that you just want to hold on to constantly, usually some mobility spells, Burrow Strike being great, Blink from the Queen of Pain or the Anti-Mage being awesome and stuff like that. The Weaver Shikuchi is the best possible one, and then you can just choose from the array of spells on the other heroes, definitely, and now you even have the Raid King to steal from him. So, Bait, they're gonna be going for the Raid King, and I have to say, Panda, going for a Raid King against Smiling Knight, I think it's a big mistake. Also, you're playing a lane against the Mars, but I'm not sure how much people are aware. Smiling Knight used to be a streamer like 5k MMR. I'm not sure really, but he played only Wraith King, and then he climbed up to 7-8k with the Wraith King. Then he started exploring other heroes, and now he's where he is. So he has like 2,000 games on the Wraith King. This guy knows the hero inside and out. And you also picked it into a Mars and a lot of minus armor between the Mars and the Snapfire. This Wraith King is going to be in a ton of trouble until the Chainmail does come out in the lane.
So you're telling me there's two options. Either Smiling Knight rose the ranks by playing Wraith King or by leaving Wraith King out of his hero pool. Which one is it actually?
Playing a Wraith King. He played Wraith King, and that's how he rose the MMR, and then he started exploring other heroes. So
right.
It's he's really known for it, and knowing a hero inside and out, it's gonna allow you to play good Dota against it. So I'm liking it in a sense that Gambit heroes are very susceptible to just getting critted down in one hit from the Wraith King. Every one of these heroes has low armor, every single one of them. So that's good. The problem is you suffer in lane. The Bane is probably gonna leave you to assist the Lina. And then, are you actually going to be getting enough farm? That's the question. So that's why I'm a little bit afraid for this Wraith King.
I'm also kind of thinking about the potential carry pick idea for Gambit. They do have to pick before bait, and something that strikes my mind is the Phantom Lancer. It looks like a pretty decent pick because there's only the Lina who has something against it with the AoE, revealing which one's the right one, helps the Bane get the Fiend Script out. But without that, I feel like PL seems like a good carry pick for Gambit. What would you say?
It looks like an amazing pick. The problem is, though, they do have the last pick, you know? So something like a Sand King here comes to mind. And if Gambit have a ban into a pick, if they ban the... Oh, actually, they don't. So if they ban the Sand King now, I think the PL is definitely going to be banned out. And if they pick a PL, there's going to be a Sand King and actually a way for Bait to play that game against him. You know, as the time progresses, Raid King gets the Radiant, so it might not be the ideal pick unless they remove the Sand King now, I guess.
10 seconds to pick.
Well, we do have some time on Gambit's book. It was Bait who were running on low seconds in the game 1 draft, but now it seems to be Gambit who are running out of reserve time. Still have a minute, still plenty of time to think about what they want to potentially pick. I think that's what they already know, but it might still change according to how Bait responds to the next ban from Gambit. So still a lot of mind games, even at the last moments.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, they ban out the Underlord. That's a good PL counter. That's a good illusion hero counter, right? We don't know. Maybe they want to go for a Morphling, though, as well. Would be a good one as well. The Terrorblade. Those high agility heroes look like a good option for Gambit right now. The Morphling actually looks amazing for me, and the Underlord ban might be looking towards him just because of the Atrophiora and how much it actually affects the hero.
Yeah.
So we'll see what... and it's actually a good hero to stay alone in the lane if the Weaver is assisting the Lina. So I think that Gambit are getting a good read of the situation around what Bait want to do or what the best course of action for their lineup would be. So I'm definitely happy with how they are banning Bait. They definitely have an idea, but let's see how they're gonna round it all up. Of course, first we're gonna be seeing that pick from Gambit, and I think if the Morphling doesn't get banned out, that we're probably gonna be seeing him picked up here.
Morphling could be a good idea. I do see the potential for it here. A lot of mobility spells available. They're going to ban the Naga Siren. So you talked about the Underlord being a illusion counter in some way. The Naga Siren would be another. And does it end up being the PL? We're going to bring out another illusion hero. It's going to be the Terrorblade.
I mean, there weren't many options for Gambit that were awesome, but there were a few. And they ban out the Naga Siren, a hero that I'm seeing more and more in pubs right now. So people are actually getting a hold of the hero.
10
The hero is
seconds
always
to
good,
pick.
but very hard to execute with your team. You're not really sure what to do.
5
You have multiple
seconds.
options.
Hurry,
Need to
hurry.
hit a really good timing. It's a harder hero to execute than the Terrorblade. The Terrorblade is always going to have a good late game. And now we see the
Well then,
Doom,
shall we pick some
which...
heroes?
I mean, it's okay, but the thing is, the
Yeah.
Terrorblade, if he used the meta, he doesn't really care, because he's still gonna destroy everyone. So,
I agree. I feel like the moment the Gambit kind of brings out the Terrorblade pick, Bait no longer has this excellent game-changing offlaner hero that's going to win them the game. Like you said, it's an okay pick, and I agree with you. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's a mediocre one.
yeah, it's... I don't see... There weren't actually, as you said, the really good picks, right? Doom is fine. It's gonna give them somewhat of a gold advantage. It's gonna... If the game stalls out, you're still not gonna be falling that far behind. He can somewhat stay alone, right? The Doom's armor has 2 years ago been buffed up. He used to be a 1-2 armor hero, and then the Terrorblade would be so strong against him. Here in this kind of a situation, he should be able to hold his own while the Weaver is actually looking around. So we have, again, Gambit or Bait being a bit on a timer. This time around, it's gonna go around Dendi in the mid lane. They're gonna be looking to play around there. If Dendi can get super strong, they can win against Gambit. But even if that does happen, if they just slow the game, Gambit are gonna be fine. And in my mind, I think they're gonna be able to do it.
Well, this is the time to get this series tied up 1-1 and stretched all the way to 3. It is a best-of-3 series, so everything is still open on the board. But it has to happen now. The Bait magic. If there's any Bait fans in the audience right now, it's the moment to root for your team in ups and downs. As also
Perhaps
mentioned in
this
TI, I think that was a
battle will
brilliant
resolve the eternal
speech brought up by
conflict between
Shiver back
good
in
and
TI, with the team fans, that they should always be there for the ups, but for the downs as well.
Yeah, that's what true fans are like. Not like, okay, this team is the best, I'm gonna cheer for them now. I have a friend which is a big Dandy fan. No matter where he plays and how he plays and what's happening, he's still gonna be a Dandy fan, and that's a real one right there. So
Exactly.
hopefully Bait has those kind of fans that are gonna be going through them through thick and thin, and maybe if they get to, or Dandy gets to his former glory, we can see them enjoy their favorite mid laner, the legend of Dota, Dandy himself. So
Yeah, Dendi enjoyers.
yeah.
Assemble, so to say. Bait has picked up 3 sentry wards, actually. We have one on the Weaver, potentially
30
blocking some
seconds.
camps, maybe even save it for a lane. Same for Gutsy. He's also prepared to both block camps and maybe even open up the hard camp for the Doom, which is probably a big important piece for Bait as well, if they keep that hard camp open in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they need to do it, and that I think that's the reason why Weaver has the sentry. He might be buying more actually. On the position 5s, we usually do see 2 sentries, one to try to deward in the mid lane, and one to either block the camp or unblock your small one. So Gatsy, he understands it, and he's gonna be getting it, not having a salve, but as soon as he gets 100 intel gold, he's probably gonna buy it and bring it out. Yep, as expected there. So nothing too interesting. Earlier in the previous game, we had some small action, at least in level 1, getting close to that. We were here. Both teams are gonna be on their sides, getting 2 runes each, and just playing the laning stage on even grounds.
We're going to start with Void Spirit versus Lina in the mid matchup here. Dandy and Meloyul, I feel like they played up pretty even. The most important factor was probably the action room contest at 6 minutes when Dandy brings the backup. He calls in the reinforcements, the cavalry, to arrive into mid, and they go up on a 3v1, secure the action rune. It did go for a support at that time, but when you're playing Alina, you would love to get some early action rune to open up that rotation and still be able to go back to mid to defend your tower.
Yeah, and not only for yourself, but also taking away the rune from the Void Spirit. Void Spirit doesn't like staying in the lane against the Lina. We already talked about the Bane coming in, sleeping him, and then the Void Spirit dying. So he would like to get that rune so that maybe he can make an aggressive move. And then even if you kill a support in the mid lane with Bait, you're not going to be that happy. So the runes, the first and the second power rune, I think they're going to be very, very important here to the development of the first 15 minutes. And we'll see how much the teams actually commit on for them.
Also keep an eye open on bottom. TV has decided to start off with Reflection instead of Metamorph. In some matchups this has been a smart idea to go for, that you don't go for level 1 Metamorph, start blowing out your opponents, because Doom does hit relatively hard. He's got 74 damage right now with the help of 2 Gauntlets of Strength, and obviously you have the Weaver too, who's a bit of a squishy heavy hitter, kind of a glass cannon support-ish, you could think about it that way. So Reflection can really give you a good edge, and obviously helps the Snapfire too. And Lil Shredder, even though this is a very minor detail, but Lil Shredder with the minus armor makes the illusion hit harder.
Yeah, and it's actually a really good synergy between them, so I'm liking that he went for it. Usually we see Terrorblades now going for it, so it's not really... So it's not something that uncommon, but as you pointed out, in this kind of a situation, it's actually even better than usual. But look at what the Doom got. Ice armor. This lane, them killing the Doom, now it doesn't happen, right? He has 10 armor, you don't hit him, and Pion is now going to be able to farm as much as he wants until there's a big rotation, and the only one who can maybe make that happen is going to be the Void Spirit.
I was pointing it out with the ice armor being picked up, that definitely allows more lane sustainability for these 2 heroes from bottom. So very important, very good pickup, and also some good RNG, which is also a part of Dota. It's always good to have in your lane, even in the early levels. Get those right creeps out. Talking about those blocked camps, the hard camp has been blocked by Gutsy. He does have the easy camp open, which he can use later on, but right now it does look like it's a bit of a trade and draw here. He doesn't want to leave Violent alone in lane when he's only level 2 on the Wraith King. Wants to at least pick up a 3rd level to get that Mortal Strike, so you have lifesteal through the crit, and makes him sustain the lane a little bit better.
Once again,
it's good that you have a Bane when you're the Wraith King against the Mars, because if you would be a weaker support to Rubik, okay, let's look at the first blood in the bottom lane. They actually got a kill through the ice armor on the Weaver, so that's quite weird, I have to say.
Yeah, that's the reason why we weren't looking at bottom. We weren't suspecting a kill to happen because they had a lot of armor in their disposal. But 2 points picked up in Metamorph at level 2 and level 3, and Cookie with Lil Shredder. Apparently it works.
Yeah, it works. They get a kill. But going back to the story about the top lane, where you have the Rubik against the Bane. He cannot trade 1 versus 1. If the Mars is 1 versus 1 against the Wraith King, he will be doing so well. But if it's 2 versus 2 there, then it's not going to be that easy. So this Bane, he's the saving grace for the Wraith King, who would get probably crushed by the Mars himself just because of the low armor. But now, once he gets the Helm of Iron Will, that is all going to change. But the mid lane...
Talk about mid, there's exactly the Nightmare into LSA. 30 HP, 1 hit required, does get the Fairy Fire out, and with the help of Resonant Pulse, he uses every spell, but it's enough to keep Melioul alive. Unfortunately, that is for Dendi to steal the Water Rune, and Laguna also secures the 2nd one for Dendi to pick up. So nothing for the Void, and with the supports locked down in the side lanes, Pion almost falling here, nobody's there to refill the bottle for this Void Spirit.
Yeah, no one died on the supports. He actually would have wanted his supports to be dead right now, probably, just to refill his bottle, because it's not going to be the easiest, but he expected it. He knew he was going into Alina. He picked up the Void Spirit. He knows that he's going to be getting a decent amount of CS, and is still going to be relevant in the later portions of the game, so it's not that bad. If he had fallen, it would have been amazing for Bait, but in this kind of situation, I think Gambit are actually going to be quite happy with how the mid lane is going right now.
That also kind of it does impact with, even if your TB picks up a first blood in the bottom lane, that support did go to mid, fill up Dendi's bottle, and enabled that whole chain, or that entire chain of sequences to happen, where they're able to get the bottle refill, rotate another support, get the chance to poke the Void out of lane, secure Water Runes, and now 40 seconds into the action runes, which is going to be very important. How does Gambit respond to that? We'll have to keep an eye open on the supports. Afterlife, look though, he's at 33 CS in this top lane, and Violent is getting nothing.
I mean, I would like to say it to be expected, but I didn't expect it to be this big of a difference, right? So, Violent not really getting that much, being a bit greedy with the Helm of the Iron Will. I kind of would have wanted to see the Ring of Protection into a chainmail. I think it would have been better for him. But he decided to go for the Helm of the Iron Will first, and he got really punished for it. How much will it transfer into the later portions of the game? You can never tell, but it's never a good start for your carry to be struggling this much in the mid lane.
Talking about those runes, DD is on the bottom half. Melioul again, 30 HP this time. No Fairy Fire, but does have Astral Step to move out. And Rubik looks like he's being left for dead. He doesn't even get the chance to kill the Spain Courier. He's just being walked away. That's what they're kind of expecting for him to stop for a second for the LSA stun. Still enough for Dendi to catch him. And that will be the end of this Rubik. Space has been... a tiny amount of space has been created. But not that much. Meliul at least gets to farm this entire wave that he was about to skip in mid because it was so low on HP.
Tower is taking damage.
I think it's, again, okay for Gambit. They did kill the Rubik, but it did cost Dandy a few creeps in the mid lane. Meliul, he was farming during that time. He has the infused raindrops. That's why he was able to survive. And he understands that right now it's not time for killing. It's time for surviving. And that's why we see the Dissimulate being maxed out. He wants to farm. He wants to get out. He's not going to be going in with the Resonant Pulse trying to survive these guys on the aggressive, because that would probably be the end of his life. So I'm liking what he's doing. And this just goes to show that Gambit know exactly how they want to play from start to finish. They understand the strengths of Bait and their own strengths, and they're utilizing them quite nicely in game 2 as well.
Talking about Mars players, I think one of my favorites was on from yesterday's Open qualifiers. To catch a glimpse of one of the Mars players who got knocked out in the lower bracket. I think like 5th or 4th. He was playing with IO Mars in the offlane, and he was at 96 last hits into like 8-9 minutes into the game. He was top net worth from minute 2 to all the way to the finish of the game, and I was like, wow, this Mars is going to go places. Then they get knocked out in the next series. So I'm like, you can see how good a Mars can be out of lane and keep that momentum going on, but that was obviously with the help of the IO. So do you think IO Mars is still going to be a combo for months to come?
Well, yeah, but first let's see what's going on in the mid lane. Nothing much, I guess. I think yes, because the only thing that the Mars lacks is sustainability. If he has mana, if he has HP, mana being the most important one, I'd say. That's why everyone goes for the Soul Ring. The Mars is always going to be super strong. He scales well, and he has already been nerfed multiple times, and it still doesn't change. The nature of the hero is like that he's gonna always be very strong. So the IO and the Mars, I do think that they're gonna be a thing unless something really significant does happen to the heroes.
Well, at least in terms of the heroes in this game, only 2 of them have died so far. We're close to 9 minutes, and again, a very calm start for the game. We have a double net worth lead for Bait with Alina and the Doom. Well, Doom expectedly being very high, going for Midas, only a couple hundred gold short from it too. And with this, Lina closing up on Boots of Travel, and obviously needs 2 to 3 items to hit that full potential. We're talking Boots of Travel, BKB, Silver Edge / Daedalus. Is there any change in the build? When do you want to go Silver Edge? When would you see Daedalus as a better option?
In this game, definitely Silver Edge, because you're gonna be hitting the Mars most of the times, and the Bulwark really mitigates your damage. But right now, Silver Edge is a better item. So unless you're severely lacking in damage and thinking that you just need that little bit of an edge because Daedalus is a stronger damage item overall, then you're gonna be going for it. In most cases, the Silver Edge will be the preferred option, but it has to be a specific game where you have no reason to go for the Silver Edge. They'll have vision of you. You're gonna lose all of the good things, the breaks, the invis, and then the Daedalus is gonna be better. So here, if Dandy does want to go for the crit, it's most likely gonna be the Silver Edge.
I do like the Silver Edge being brought up in a lot of games for Linas, but there are some opportunities for Daedalus, but that also does mean you don't have the advantage of your invis. Meanwhile, bottom Pion is just going to get quickly punished by Meliul and Pantomim. I think they've done the same thing, that they smoke up with these 2, and it does seem they understand how powerful they actually are at this stage of the game, that they can just combine Mortimer's Kisses with the Remnant and almost get a kill with just those 2.
Yeah, it seems like they really like this Void Spirit Snapfire combo, but top lane, there's gonna be an attempt on Ignite.
Yeah, level 5 on Bane, so no Fiend Script available. Won't even level up during this fight. Afterlife, bonks Gutsy away, and Laguna's also here. So they only get the ulti off of the Wraith King, but he's now vulnerable for the next 3 minutes. So if they time it right, Gambit, they have up till 13 minutes and a couple seconds on top to still hunt this Wraith King down for a second time.
This is the problem with Bait. Their damage revolves around Alina. They don't have damage without her. Even if, let's say, the Doom would come, only the Doom target could go down. So they need to play around Lina. Dandy for now, he is playing in the woods and they're looking okay in terms of net worth. The problem is they're not utilizing the Lina, and that will add up, right? If the Lina would have 1 or 2 kills right now, she would be up to 6k net worth. Then she would be able to come online a little bit earlier. Now Dandy's just farming the woods, and they're not really utilizing this hero, trying to make something happen with the others, but we saw that it's gonna be unsuccessful in Gambit. They're just going for tankiness, right? Dragonlance, they have the armlet and Afterlife, and that allowed both of them to get out there with their head still on their shoulders.
Manta style will be the option for TB in this game, so no Sanjin Yasha shenanigans will be brought up, so status resistance will not be on the board. I would kind of like the idea of it, because there's Bane, there's Doom. Those 2 big ultimates do get mitigated a lot by the status resistance on the TB, but Manta is still a very viable, very optional item. Or I wouldn't actually even say optional, it feels like it's the mainstream item. You still go for TB, but I would have kind of liked the SNY this game.
It's gonna come down to player preference, right?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have the S and Y is good because all the ways that you stated, but then again you can say, okay, when the Doom jumps in, I'm gonna dodge his War Stomp with my Manta. He's not gonna know which was the real one, and I'm gonna dodge that way still. Smiling Knight still didn't commit for any of it, so we could be seeing an S and Y. Who knows? He just put it there on quick buy. Maybe he decides to go into an S and Y still. It's the easier thing to do, right? Manta is
Exactly.
you still need to execute, right? S and Y, you just stand there and you hope that you have enough tankiness to survive.
Yeah. It's definitely down to the player who actually wants to build or see the option through. I think it's just more a personal preference that I like to see the S and Y come out in some specific games, because it buffs your tankiness a little bit, and most importantly the status resistance, which does come into very big importance in this game. But true, yeah, you just Manta dodge everything if you're skillful enough. And it feels like today we talk about Manta dodge as they will Manta dodge, not that, oh, he Manta dodged something. You know what, bottom Lina's in trouble, getting hit by the Mortimer's Kisses, and not enough for a kill. Gets hit by a couple more projectiles, but still down to 300 HP. And actually is enough to save Melio's life from this rotation, but it almost ends up being a kill for Gambit. They're still waiting. Doesn't look like they're falling for it. Meanwhile, mid, making some good rotations. They pop the Metamorph. They want to push this mid tier 1 tower. But Bait, they're smoking up. They're ready to protect it. They have the Fiend Script available. Laguna Blade is there. Violent is getting his ulti back up. This is a perfect timing for Bait. Can they utilize it? They have Arena on Afterlife. Laguna going for the Scout in front. Does a bit of damage with the Shikuchi. Violent throws into stun. Dandy coming in from the side. He does get the Laguna Blade, but the Spear will connect, and it's on Gutsy, the man with the Fiend Script, completely unused. And Afterlife slaps them away with the bonk, and Wraith King loses his first life too. Melioul with a quick Astral Step onto the Wraith King, pushing Violent away. Pantomime with the chase, gets the Cookie stun. Laguna's also on the run, and they have now secured at least the tower, even if they don't kill the Wraith King. Great fight here for Gambit. Bait a bit unlucky there with the side rotation. 3 lost.
This comes down to the fact that we were talking about earlier. When you don't utilize the strengths of your heroes at every point that you could, you needed to play around that Lina. You needed to use her a little bit more aggressively. You attempted it once when she was not level 6. You almost killed the Void Spirit, and there you gave it all up, went into the jungle. The Terrorblade, you see this, he's not just farming jungle. Whenever he has meta, he's trying to make a move. He made the move on the top lane, he made the move on the mid lane, and it resulted well for Gambit. Even if, let's say if Dandy was a bit stronger there, he might have been able to survive, get more spells off, and we might be seeing a dead Mars. But the problem is that he isn't, and the Bait just not utilizing the complete strength of their lineup is hurting them in the first few fights. And now Gambit already have a gold lead, which against the Doom is something that you really need to be afraid of.
We may never know.
Now Bait looking for a quick succession fight with another smoke. And there's also Gambit coming in from the side, from the river, heading towards the dire jungle. Doom's going to be the one to run in first. Pion gets information on Seiyu, and a quick Doom onto the Rubik. Should be a dead Rubik as Laguna dives into chasing, but does Roshan get the steal? No, not this time. Laguna will be credited the kill. There's another fight breaking loose on the side. Wraith King with no ulti available, being pressurized by Afterlife and by Melioul. Double armlet jukes already. Pantomime down, Violent falls, and here comes the rest of Bait. They still have Fiend Script. Can they catch the Mars? He's trying to close in the gap, but that cast range is so small on the Bane. Spear onto Pichon and moving the Doom away. Here comes TV as well, and Bane moving some dangerous waters here, but Afterlife, armlet toggle. Can he TP out? Yes, he can.
Yeah, very beautifully done by Afterlife, very beautifully done by Meliul. I was about to say, why is Pantomim going in to save Sayu? There's no way he's saving him, but he knew that his team was making a move on the other part of the fight, let's put it that way, because they weren't really that far away on the map, and he just created that much space for them to kill the Wraith King, and both of them getting out a little bit there because Afterlife had some beautiful armlet toggles, but then again, so did the Violent, so they kind of canceled each other out. But in the end, I'd say that was a pretty even trade, with the problem of bait. Again, you're playing against a Terrorblade, you need to go for this guy. That's what the smoke was meant for, but they went for the Rubik, and now without the Doom, Knight, he's not really afraid of anything. You see the lean on the map, and you know that you're going to be surviving for sure.
Only 8 kills so far in 16 minutes. A couple good fights for Gambit, and they are keeping up the tempo. Another 3-man smoke from mid towards the bottom half of the map. Gutsy cutting the wave. Does have Dendi with him. Dendi has to be careful because he does have an Invis rune. Do they have detection though? They have a sentry on Rubik and Afterlife. He does get to pop the Invis rune just in time. Nightmare save from Gutsy, but then again, the sentry down, Mortimer's kisses, and they get the connection. They found Dendi with the lift, with the help of Seiyu. They finally end Alina's life.
Yeah, they got him there. They had really good vision, really nice setup. They did lose the tower, so not the worst thing for bait. But again, Lina is your main target, as the Queen of Pain was the main target in the previous one. Now bait, they don't have damage for 30 seconds. They don't have the Doom now for 12. And Smiling Knight, I think it's gonna be fine. Okay.
Yeah, it's stolen Nightmare by Seiyu. Pretty tricky there, catching Laguna. Seems to be a free kill onto the Weaver. It's a bit easier for Gambit now to hunt this Weaver compared to game 1, but they also pull it off pretty nicely there. Let's see if he can pull off some more, because Violent is on the run. They did see him with a sentry. In fact, they had just enough vision into mid to see that the Wraith King is on the hunt, but won't get Seiyu. Afterlife picks up a DD rune. Does he get to use it on Mars? Mars packs a lot of damage with this DD rune early on.
Yeah, the God's Rebuke really just destroys anyone who gets caught, and now they want to go to the bottom lane. Again, we can see that bait, they want to fight, but it's still a very, I'd say, basic approach to wanting to force out the fight. Yo, I have a Shadow Blade, I'm gonna run to them. You need to force something else on the map, force some rotations, and then strike on another part of the map, or bait your opponents into it. When you're just kind of showing your cards, yo, I'm running in with my Shadow Blade, there's gonna be if there's a sentry there, your whole plan is gone.
Violent is going very violent right now, and he's not afraid because he goes in, but he's going to get surprised by 3 heroes from Gambit. He thought that this guy's all alone, and that will be death number 1. But is he still getting back up? Because Bane is on his way. Violent moving out, and Gambit also realizing that they maybe have to reposition themselves. Meanwhile, Weaver coming in from the back. Laguna, they have a pincer move. Meliul goes in. Afterlife goes in for a beautiful arena. Has the Nightmare save, at least onto Pion for a second, but it's not going to be enough by Gatsy. And they pop the Metamorph as they secure 2 kills, maybe even a third, as Laguna makes his way out. Mortimer's kisses. Does he find the Weaver? 1, 2. Doesn't get the third because the time lapse will be used, and the spear barely misses on Laguna. Afterlife, they found him though. They know exactly where he is, and that's 3 for Gambit.
They're still gonna be squashing the bug in the end. Gambit, they get a beautiful fight, and now 2 times in a row because of this ward here. I mean, leaving that hill like the ward lasting for the entire duration, that's the biggest mistake that bait could have done. So Gambit, as soon as they saw they were gonna lose the bottom tower, they placed that vision, protecting their jungle, not so that they can farm there, because they know it's gonna be dangerous, but because of the moves. And now in the top lane, again, we're gonna see an engagement.
And again, the BKB has to be used by Dendi. Laguna Blade comes out. They want to save Wraith King because he was the one in trouble. Dendi almost dies without the right clicks enough from Seiyu. And they will get the kill on this Wraith King in the end. He tries to armlet juke as much as he possibly can, but it's not going to be enough. Gutsy tries to go for a quick Nightmare play to at least isolate one, but 5 seconds until he has a Remnant available. Lift connects. They've got the stun, and Bane gets killed by the stolen Dragon Slave by Seiyu, and Gambit styling their way.
Yeah, they definitely got a little bit annoyed. They were probably looking at their captain. Yo, let's have more kills in this game than in the last one. It's definitely not fun just waiting for 20 minutes doing nothing. And now we see Gambit just rolling over bait. Bait just didn't have that good of a start as they had in the previous one, and now we can see again in the mid game definitely having problems, and Gambit moving better around the map overall, allowing them to get to a 4K goal lead, which is 21 minutes in, especially against the Doom is nothing to laugh at, and also the farm distribution is amazing on the side of Gambit. Void Spirit, he doesn't need much. Mars has a solid amount of farm, and everything is on Terrorblade. And again, Dendy's gonna be caught, but we're gonna let you live. Just tell your friends how dangerous we are and stay in your base. 21 minutes in, it's not a good place to be.
Seiyu was hoping that if you actually stole LSA, that would have been a kill, because lift into LSA stun, and then the Mars would have been close enough to blink spear, and they would have been killing this Lina for a 4th time. But luckily, it was a Dragon Slave that was given away. Dendy reveals himself in mid as he destroys the creep wave. Bait still smoked up. Seiyu goes for a nice aggressive blink here. Pops the smoke off of Dendy. Bait still coming in with a wraparound from the river. Violent is on the hunt. And Afterlife, he's right there, but he blinks out. That should give Violent information that they have vision around this area. They even put an Ops on the cliff. The sentry's on the other side.
Not looking the greatest. Again, Bait are going for basic, simple moves, and you saw that when we talked about Seiyu maybe even killing Dendy in front of his base. The second he saw that he can't kill him, it was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to force out some rotations, lift, spell, and then run out. No one from Bait reacted, but 10 plays like that, one time they react.
They're walking in a trap. They are going in, but they're ready. Gambit prepared for this. Don't allow the initiation from Bait to go all the way through. Pion did go for that quick blink war stomp. He has a BKB. And so does Dendy. Dendy picks up the Crystallis now as well. So he's got that right-click damage advantage, but is slowly getting online with this Lina. But we haven't really checked up on this Terrorblade. He's soon got a Scotty, and he's going to be hard to kill.
Yeah, very hard to kill, even if he does get doomed, which is highly unlikely given the positioning of Gambit. It has been great. Bait, they know this is their timing. The 9-second BKB on the Doom, you have to go right now. You have to find that initiation. But again, simple moves. You need to maybe make a play on the top lane, even let your Weaver die for it to open up the fight on the bottom lane where you're going to be ready with the smoke. But now Gambit are going to be the one going for a smoke, and considering how far the lanes are pushed in, they might actually get a catch here.
Yep, with the blink, lift, spear, they've got Dendy pinned to the wall and combining everything to make sure that this kill takes place. Gambit punishing Dendy again. That will be death number 4 for the Lina. Lina slowly dropping on the net worth chart now. 3rd, still pretty much farm, but what good is farm if you're just being hunted?
Yeah, you need to be the hunter here, Dendy. The problem is that people have to play around him. Lina running around the map, it's not that easy. Even with the boots of travel, you might be fast, but you always have to stop to farm the waves. And now Gambit, immediately they go into the Roche by mid lane and the bottom lane being pushed in. They should know that Bait are ready for this fight. There are 4 heroes here, and we might actually see an engagement around the Roche, but they have to do it fast. They're actually hunting the Void Spirit, and I have to say, Panda, this is a free Roche for Gambit.
It is. Meloyul is playing it really nicely here because he's drawing all of the attention. He's going to get doomed up, but at the same time, they have to fully commit to it, knowing that they've already taken Roshan. And Meloyul, even if he's down, Bait, what can they do? There's no doom. Violent's going to get hit by the 2-man Cookie. Katsi trying to save him from the back. He's got the Fiend script out, but they instantly turn their attention towards the Bane, and even with no team, even no cancel, they got the damage and the stolen Fiend's grip onto the Wraith King, and Violent is gonna get slain. 2 for 2, and with that, TB is still unkilled this game. Gambit's just enjoying these team fights. They're happy to sack Meloyul if they get Roche that freely.
Yeah, they are happy. And Meloyul actually just went out a second earlier than he should have. If he just stayed behind the tower, he knew that something was coming, but he was actually afraid of his enemies of his team getting gone on by the enemies in the Roche pit. So that's why he stepped out. He got caught. So I have to say, Bait getting a good thing out of a bad situation, to be honest, given how Gambit set it up. But in the end, they lose the Weaver. So again, every single fight, every single engagement, every single move in this game number 2 is going to have Gambit.
And Pantomime and Seiyu, they did get that quick kill on the Weaver too. They just never gave up on the chase, on the hunt for this Weaver, who thought that he's already safe and out from the fight. And the next casualty is up for grabs. It is Gatsi.
Yeah, the poor guy just walks up front, and I have to say, this is one of the better deaths that Bait made. I'm actually surprised that they're not giving their supports away a little bit more in this kind of a situation. Giving a support kill here and there, it's not the end of the world, and he actually saves Dendy's life there because it was a rotation towards him. So I'd like Bait's supports to be a bit more aggressive. They have a Bane, they have a Weaver. These are heroes that are not that easy to catch, and actually if they catch if the Bane catches a solo hero, it's gonna be tough. So I'd like Bait to be a bit more aggressive in the side lanes with their supports, but for now they're not doing it, and Gambit are gonna continue being aggressive.
Look at this TP from Meliul. Okay, he doesn't actually see Dendi there. It's right outside of vision, and he sees the right-click projectiles come out, so he finally locates a BKB popped, and he will TP out. Quick taunting slash. Yeah.
Yeah, just like get to the base and don't come out.
Go back where you belong.
know what's gonna be. Exactly. So Dendi, with him being sent to the corner now without the BKB ready, Smiling Knight is immediately going for the high ground push, and he does pop the meta, showing that they definitely want to commit for this one. And I don't think a little cliff is gonna be the thing that actually deters them.
They're trying to lift the Laguna on the high ground down to the low ground, but not quite able to close in that. That would have been an opening kill for Gambit. They're still keeping up the siege. Bait, they do smoke up, and a counter smoke from Gambit, but look who's behind you. They've been revealed, they've been spotted, and a beautiful two-man stun from Meliul, but the initiation comes out from Pion. Gets the stun only onto Pantomim. There's the Doom, it's also on the Snapfire. They just want to secure at least one kill. They know they can't use another TB. They have the Void Spirit being killed. Meliul will go down. Bait, still showing some signs of life. It's a 2-for-1 trade, and they haven't taken out the Aegis, but that Metamorph is about to run out. Laguna will be taken out by Afterlife and Seiyu, and it's still a 3 versus 3. Violent waiting on the high ground. Does have his stun, does have his ulti available. Maybe they're gonna blow up this Aegis. There's no Sunder. Can Smiling Knight get a kill here? Very low HP Wraith King. He's constantly armlet juking, life stealing off of the creep. Seiyu comes in. There's the spear, the lift onto Pion, and Doom is out of play. Wraith King also pushed out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fight where they didn't even use the arena. I have to say, Bait, a very good idea of how to approach this fight. As I said, their way and how they're communicating inside of a fight is great. It's just the setup that's not there. And we talked about Gambit in the first game, actually maybe losing a fight in the enemy high ground push. This was that high ground push, and Bait, they did everything they could, I guess, given the situation that they're in, and they still lost it in the end quite convincingly, with the Doom dying as well. Using the Doom on the Snapfire, not the best target, but what's your alternative? The Terrorblade? Yeah. Not really. So Gambit, a very clean game, a lot cleaner than game number 1, but still a very, very solid series coming out from them.
I love how Pantomim is role-playing a fruit salesman. Just brings these 3 stacks of mangoes for this TB to get some quick mana up, so he would have enough mana for Sunder.
Yeah, that's what grandmas should do. Like, give a lot of fruits to your grandkids. Don't make cookies; they're not that healthy. So Snapfire making sure that everyone is gonna be fine. And with 2 Raxes falling down, now Bait, we could be seeing that last smoke once they do have the Doom, just to attempt to make something happen. And then he might have his Silver Edge before that happens. We'll see if he does get that extra 500 gold before they actually go for a fight.
Talking about Silver Edge, TD has picked up a Daedalus for himself, and he hits like a truck. If he already didn't do a lot of damage, that Daedalus is definitely going to be the end of Bait's supports. And Gambit, I love how they're playing this really clumped up stack there for a second. They all meet up in the trees, and they have found themselves Pion, because Seiyu with the Stolen Doom literally uses Doom's own weapons against him, and that will be a deny by Violent at least, so he doesn't give the gold for Gambit, but they're on the hunt for another because they already took out Laguna's Weaver. And finally closing up the distance onto the Wraith King, and Afterlife toying with his prey, pinned to the wall. Does have BKB, but does he get to get it? And Gutsy, what could he even do? The Remnant is there, they found him, they even killed the Bane. He thought he was safe, but he wasn't.
He wanted to die with the Scary. There's no reason to live in this world alone, so he goes down. And saying about the damage of the Terrorblade, I'd say Smiling Knight is being merciful. You want to kill them fast, give them a fast, clean death, and not just make them struggle. So now using the meta, they do have the buybacks, and Bait could go for that last fight, or they could just decide to go out, but they're not cowards, and I think Panda, they're definitely going to be jumping in, and there's the first buyback.
Yeah, they're looking to end the game here, right now. The tier 4 towers have been molten down. Pion, look at how fast this Doom just dies. He barely closes in the distance as TV is getting doomed. Meanwhile, Afterlife, he's found himself Gutsy, Debane with a gem in holding, and the Fiend Script unused. Dendi gets right-clicked to death, and that seals the deal for the series. GG's call, 30 minutes it takes for Gambit to close out the game, and the series 2-0.
Very, very nice performance from Gambit, I have to say. They knew from start to finish what they needed to do. Bait, the first time that their plan didn't work out, they went into that, I'd say, autopilot mode. We're gonna do what we do in pubs, and against a team like Gambit, who has two players that actually should have been in the upper division right now. They have Afterlife. Melio is also a good addition to the team. I think that with this kind of play, you stood no chance, absolutely no chance.
Yeah, not really giving any chances, any second chances, or any doubts about the preparation that Gambit has had towards this tournament, and coming out strong with their first victory. It's a great way to start your tournament. Like, this is a 6-week setup. There's going to be plenty of games to play, and you're happy that you're going to be having a couple days break now with a victory under your belt. So you must be feeling very easy already. But that feeling doesn't necessarily translate to bait.
Yeah, well, it's not the best start for them. Bait, when I saw the teams in, I would say they were safe of not getting eliminated. But now after seeing this series, Gambit is not the strongest team probably in the tournament. Of course, we can't really say just yet. But with this kind of a performance, they need to lift it up if they want to stay in the top 6 here. So I'm hoping that. They're gonna be a bit reversed, that the honeymoon period for Bait is gonna be bad, and then as they progress in the tournament, they're gonna be playing better and better.
I mean, what can we still... I mean, there's a lot to expect from Bait, at least for the future. They're going to be having a couple days break until they're going to be playing against a pretty difficult team. It's the CIS Rejects, the all-star team that came from the Open Qualifiers with Ramses, Nayapasha, Roger, FNG, Depressed Kid. What do you think? What kind of things do you do when you have a couple days in between to prepare against this very difficult match?
Well, depending on what you have already done, but you need to look at the mid game. If they're listening, they look at the mid game and be a bit more ready to get destroyed in it. Don't just try to extend the game, but try to make it so that you can play it, right? So that the support dies somewhere else. You can see all the time, all 3 of the lanes are being pushed into them, right? Because they're afraid of giving out a support kill. And that cannot happen. I think you first have to address that and then go from there, because their mid game is the problem. The laning phase is fine. They know how to play. These are all good Dota players, right? They're not going to mess up there. But the mid game, where the Dota happens, some would say it's best that you learn from watching. So sit down as a team, watch a few replays of your own, of some better teams, maybe even this game. Look at what Gambit did and how they approached it and how you did, how they had more complex moves and you had just simple ones. If you kind of even that out, you could have a chance against the better team. If not, if they play like this, I think it's gonna be an easy tool for CIS Rejects.
Well, by the looks of it, we're going to be taking a couple days break with Eastern Europe, as the next games will be played out on December 2nd. We've got some Division 2 and Division 1 action, so keep yourselves tuned up for those. There's going to be some pretty hype games and some pretty hype casters as well. You're looking at God's Lizard, Lyrical Trent, and obviously Robin Roll and Wingblade in the lower division. We will be back with T-Panda and Harry Freak on Friday, and hopefully to see you, all of you, there as well. We are going to take a tiny break, though, in between until the next series kicks off for DPC. Thank you for tuning in with me here, Harry Freak. First time we actually cast the game together, and I think we had a great time.
Yeah, I had a great time. I had fun, and I'm looking to have even more fun as the league progresses. So nice job, and see you all guys on Friday.
You heard the man. See you next time.